Alright, hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I know it's been a long time again since we've seen each other, but got some really great exciting news for the year. I'm gonna be laying out to you guys what we have been doing as of late, since this is the end of the year for the year 2022. So I'm just gonna catch you guys up on what everything has been happening on the farm that we got going on. So stay tuned for more. So to start off, we put in a set of eggs towards the end of the year. We had roughly 40 or so eggs that we had put in, and we unfortunately had a 50-50 hatch ratio, so only about 19 chicks have hatched. This here is the first one that you are seeing that's popping out of its egg. It is part of our fibro project, so really great news on that. Still popping out right there. So it's time to get the brooder room ready up. So as you can see already, we have put up a saran wrap around the brooder cage that we also have used earlier this year that we just recently built. Already went ahead and got the box full of wood chips preheated up with the lamp. Want to get it nice and cozy. That way whenever you do introduce chicks, it's not going to temperature shock them. So currently it's at 84 degrees Fahrenheit in here. So we're going to let that warm up to right around 90 degrees or so. That way that's kind of like the right temperature, because that's what it would be like whenever they are under their mom. And so in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and clean off their water bowls. As you see, I already kind of did that. So no spots, anything like that. Make sure everything is nice and clean, because you don't want to contaminate your chicks at an early age, especially whenever they just hatch. So make sure everything is nice and sparkly clean. And especially for the food, you're going to want to have that dried out. Now with the water, I'm not too worried about, because it's going to be wet anyways, but we're going to go ahead and set this aside. Right there, just find a nice sunny spot outside preferably, that way the water just dries off and evaporates into the air. We're gonna let that sit up until it dries out, so we'll come back to get that later. In the meantime, I went ahead and already got that done. We went and got some starter medicated, so we're ready to fill that up. Just gonna fill this up all the way to the top, not entirely all the way full, but you want to get pretty good amount in there, that way they do have enough to eat in the meantime. So just not full all the way, because you might be wasting some food, but just enough that they can survive through the night until the next morning. So we check back an hour later, and this is where we're at now. Everything is nice and heated up, so we're gonna get the chicks. And while I was outside doing all the prep work, noticed that there was a lot more crying in here, so we're just going to open it up and see. You notice a lot of eggs have hatched at this rate, so that's some good stuff that's going on. It got one still stuck in the cage itself. It couldn't fall down from the tray, so we're just going to help this little guy out, put him down. Now of course the rule of thumb is to not pull them out. That's actually a very bad thing to do, because you would actually make the chicks weaker, because they actually need to exercise and develop their muscles early on, otherwise they will actually die, because they are not very strong. Now, cool thing about these fibro chicks is that you can see their old blood vessels, typically they would be red, but because they are fibro, their blood vessels are actually black. So that's one really cool, neat feature. But of course, for the rest of the chicks here, they've already kind of dried out, so that's good news. Usually it takes about a couple hours for them to dry enough for you to take them out. So these guys look already really nice and fluffy. So the best time of the stage to pick them up, because they're not too wild yet, they're still just getting into the world. So we're just going to go ahead and transfer them into a box and go ahead and get them moved on out here. Now, of course, some pro tips, you also want to kind of keep the box closed up as best you can. That way they can still maintain a little bit of heat. Of course, if you're going to be doing this really fast, there's no need for any heat pack or some sort of that. But it would be good to preheat the box. That way it kind of contains a little bit of heat left inside of it. And other pro tip is that you want to scoop them up instead of just grab them on top. It is very startling to the chicks whenever you grab them on top, so just kind of scoop them underneath. That's going to be the best way for you to handle these chicks, especially because they're so fragile. Now, you don't want to be too harsh on them. But whenever you're transferring the box, so all I did was just put them into a little Amazon box, getting delivered to the breeder room. But whenever you are also dropping them in, again, just scoop them up nice and lightly. You can drop them just a tiny bit, but you don't want to be too harsh on it. Like that guy right there, he is on his back, but he quickly got up, so that's a good sign that it's a healthy chick, very nice and strong. So just casually scoop them up. You don't want to be too rough with it, but you also, at the same time, you also want to get them in as soon as possible, especially during the winter months, because it is cold outside and you want to get them into that heater lamp as soon as possible. So currently I believe there is 13 that I am putting in right now. I can't remember the exact numbers whenever I initially did it, but of course empty box, so that's good news. Everybody is in, and when it's still on his back, so just gonna have to let him figure it out, of course. But I decided to help him out anyways because they are brand new and it is very cold, so I didn't want him to be stuck on his back and not be able to get some food in. So in the meantime, just gonna help prop them up. It dropped back to 78 degrees, so I am going to move that closer to the lamp. That way they have ample heating to survive. Of course, it is midday here, so it's going to be plenty of daylight left for the rest of the day, but of course they are going to need as much heat as possible. So naturally they will want to brood and go under each other, so by having enough heat they will not do that. That way the smaller chicks will not get crushed. Now, of course, because they are so fresh and brand new, they are going to want to just sleep mainly. So here I am, I'm just imitating my hand as a hen would by laying it on top of them, and they all will go to sleep. Of course, if one moves, it disturbs the rest of the group, so they are going to have to recalibrate a lot. So this is perfectly normal behavior. So after a couple hours, you're going to see that they're a lot more active now. They're up and about, moving. This is around 2 to 3:30 in the evening. I can't remember entirely when I recorded this, but I know it was getting towards the evening time. But they have explored just a little bit. You notice there are a little bit of wood chips in the water now, so that gives me sign that they have been trying to eat and drink. So some good news there. Of course, they are still very fragile, so don't interact with them too much just yet. You want to kind of let them figure out their own things. Unless you really want to try to communicate with them, you can. That's not really the best way to do it at this early age on. So you want to just let them sizzle down and just really get comfortable with their new world, because they are brand new babies. They know virtually nothing about the world yet, so just kind of let them be themselves. Alright, and then in the meantime, I am going to go back to the incubator and check and see if any more has hatched. Alright, back inside now, so just going to open the door and see what we have. Okay, so I noticed some more eggshells. That's good news. And I see one that's kind of pecking through right there in the front. So we're just going to leave that guy in there until he is ready. But in the meantime, we're going to take a look at what we do have now. And looks like I see 3 more chicks. Really great on that. So got some of these fibros again. Now, what's very unique about these fibros is that these are not ayam cemani. Of course, ayam cemani are very popular, but these are not. These are Hmong chicken. So I'm just going to scoop these 3 up. Not going to need the box this time because it's only 3 of them, so they can easily fit in my hand. I'm just going to huddle them up against my shirt and head outside. Now, again, just going to be scooping them, slowly dropping them in. Just like that. Now, of course, you could see a very big difference between the older siblings already. They are very much more advanced with their movements. They stand upright more. They're not very sleepy. And they don't look that wet compared to the 3 that I just dropped. So they're going to be developing very fast. That's what I like to see. Because in the wintertime, you want chicks to grow up fast because the cold temperatures are not good for them. So this is the next day. I know I stopped recording altogether and I just decided to continue on with the next day following those right there. Early in the morning once again because I stopped around 4:30 last night. But of course, right around the same amount of eggs. But I do notice that some more hatched in the front here. So we're just going to take a look and see. Alright, perfect. So 3 more. That now brings us up to the total of 19 that I estimated from before. These guys are looking really nice with their colors. These are what I like to see. I am a big fan of very gold colors and very nice blue colors, as well as this white one. Kind of an off-white. That's what I like to see on my chickens there. You kind of already tell what they might grow up to be looking like. So again, we're just going to be scooping these guys up and we're going to head on outside because I don't need the box for this. Alright, so got back outside. Everybody is looking nice and fine. Everybody's doing wonderful. They're all up and ready to go. Again, you can see how big of a difference it is already. The older ones already look like they're developed enough. They're already kind of getting used to my hand a little bit. That's what I like to see. And again, it is 99 degrees in the box here. So that is what I like to see. Very close to temperature for a normal body on a hen. So that's kind of what I like to do. And already I'm trying to communicate to them, trying to see if they can pick up on that, which they are all attention on that. They're already kind of looking at the finger understanding that, hey, this is something that's safe, something that we can do and follow for. So really great on that. Look at that, this guy is coming right up. That's how I keep my chickens tame, and that's the best way to keep your chickens tame. That way later in the future you don't have any wild ones or those that turn out to be man fighters. And look at that, they've already eaten quite a bit of food, so that's really good sign on that. Not too much water just yet, but they are continuously drinking, so that is a good sign. I like to see that. That means they are wanting to develop and grow older. Alright guys, thank you for everything again, watching this episode. Just kind of get you guys caught up. This here was for set 9 of 2022, the very last one. Of course, whenever you guys watch it, this will be after Christmas, probably even into the new year. So follow us more as we go into 2023. Thank you guys. We'll see you on the next one.